Here's reaction former 2024 presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy. You know, Vivek, I'm stunned by this moment with the reporter. That was Josh Wingrove from Bloomberg that asked about Gaza. I am not typically complimentary of the White House press corps. Go watch my 2020 press briefings. However, they asked some good questions. And yet Biden totally exploded. News to Biden, Vivek. You're about to meet Donald Trump in T-minus 14 days. Get ready, buddy.
Well, the reality is it's embarrassing as an American. Forget the partisan politics of it. To see this is the commander-in-chief, the president of the United States, and at least once that used to be the president and leader of the free world as we know it, behaving in this way. It looks like we have a lobotomized president sitting in the White House today. I think it's a national embarrassment regardless of your partisan affiliation. The reality, though, Kayleigh, is I think that 14-day from now debate, 13-day from now debate, is really the final step for Biden. Either he steps up and surpasses expectations, or that's the final hurdle they're making him jump through as a condition for getting the DNC nomination. So the reality is, if he behaves that way as he did at the G7, I expect we're going to be looking at a new nominee for the Democratic Party.
Interesting. You know, Vivek, you're a brilliant communicator, probably the best we have in the party at the moment. And, you know, you've stood on the debate stage. You've gone toe-to-toe with others. And I'm curious, you know, there were low expectations for Biden with the State of the Union. He did jump over those low expectations. Do you think whatever he did, I don't know if it was like a Red Bull, whatever that routine was, can he jump over that same hurdle on a debate stage, or is it a totally different dynamic?
I think it's a totally different animal, reading from a teleprompter and using your vocal cords to actually scream at the television screen versus actually being able to think on your feet while you're engaging with the heart of what somebody's saying. I think the American people, especially on a one-on-one debate, are going to be able to see through the artifice they've otherwise been projecting. President Trump, I think, has been doing an outstanding job of showing up in places where he's not been expected to show up, from the South Bronx to the Libertarian Convention in D.C., where I was as well. Those are audiences where Republicans traditionally may not be comfortable. So he's warmed up and perfectly ready to face somebody in an uncomfortable circumstance. Biden's facing scripted questions and accusing reporters of breaking the rules, his words, not mine, for asking questions that go outside of his script. So do I believe CNN's going to do everything in their power to make Biden look as good as he possibly can? Of course they are. That's the purpose of this debate. But even still, the second purpose is for this to serve as the final hurdle, where if he fails even that easiest of tests, I do believe, Kayleigh, there is a real possibility we'll be looking at another Democratic nominee later this summer.
Okay, so let's tease that out. So Brett Stevens at the New York Times wrote a piece this week that if Biden wants to win, he needs to step aside. You had The Atlantic, a liberal publication, call him Ruth Bader Biden, insinuating he needs to learn when to exit. You've had James Carville, bad comments about Biden and his abilities. You know, so there is this clarion call from the liberal press and from some on the left that this shouldn't be the nominee. So tease this out. How does this happen? He has a disastrous debate performance. There's just public pressure. He steps aside. Is he forced aside? How does that look?
I think it's between then and the convention, Kayleigh. The reality is anything can happen before the convention. They've said it in August. I believe the other side actually knows what they're doing. If they get another nominee too early, that's enough time for vetting, enough time for the honeymoon phase to fade. But if they're swapping in another nominee in August, say right around the time of the convention, that's the best case scenario for them because you get the honeymoon phase with the new candidate without the scrutiny that comes with it. So I'm not saying that's definitely going to happen, but play this out. This is the earliest presidential debate in American history, and the first ever, to my knowledge, that has taken place before the nominating convention of either party. Ask yourself why they're doing it. And more importantly, ask yourself why the Democrats made it a condition of Biden debating that they placed that date that early. You got to skate to where the puck is going. And that's why I think it's so important, Kayleigh, that we not fixate on Joe Biden. We have to stand for our own vision. I spoke in Detroit, Michigan earlier today at the TPUSA event. And I think it's great when Republicans show up in the inner cities of this country. My message to that group was, regardless of which puppet they put up, we have to decide what we stand for as conservatives and as Americans. That's how we're going to win this election, not by fixating on Biden, because there's a good chance it may not even be him.
Wise advice. Just a few moments here, but do they leapfrog Kamala and someone else comes in?
So this is a great difficulty for the Democratic Party. The smartest decision that Joe, or maybe it was Jill, Biden actually made was selecting Kamala Harris as the VP. The only thing worse than Joe Biden for the Democratic Party would having Kamala Harris in that seat. However, I think they will be able to sidestep that problem, perhaps by making her the VP again on a ticket, or else by bowing to the temple of identity politics, by at least going with another candidate who checks certain boxes that the modern Democratic Party requires you to check. She's in charge of AI policy. I'm pretty certain she can't even spell AI, and I think most Americans, even most Democrats, see that. So I doubt they'll put her up. I think it's going to be somebody else, and somebody else who might actually have a greater functioning intellect than either Kamala or Joe Biden, which is setting a low bar, but is nonetheless what we need to be prepared for.
It is an interesting time. Vivek, thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.